Hello, it's 9:30, December 10th, 2024, and we're getting ready for a pretty intense storm tomorrow in our area that's going to feel and look a lot like a tropical storm. It's a very strong LLJ type of situation, and right off the bat, let's take a look at the latest briefing from the National Weather Service on this storm here. Just move this over a little bit here. Let's just do this. So we have, you can see, high wind warning is now in effect for Nassau and Suffolk County, as well as the eastern Connecticut shore, and then areas around that have a wind advisory. This is coastal. This is most of Connecticut, going into western Connecticut, New York City, northeast New Jersey, and the Jersey Shore. All right. So according to the briefing, here we are in the high wind warning area. South winds of 25 to 35 miles an hour with gusts to 60 for Long Island and southeast Connecticut. So this is quite an intense wind event that we're going to have. A wind advisory, south wind 20 to 30 miles an hour with gusts to 50 for the remainder of the coast. This is going to be tomorrow from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. And the peak winds will last for 1 to 3 hours. The impacts, damaging winds will blow down numerous tree limbs, scattered trees, and power lines. Power outages are likely in the warning area. Holiday decorations will be blown around or destroyed. So take those holiday decorations in. Travel will be difficult, especially for high-profile vehicles. As far as the moderate to heavy rain, it's going to be late tonight into Wednesday evening for the entire tri-state. Rainfall area-wide of 2 to 3 inches likely. Locally, 4 to 5 inches possible for Long Island and southeast Connecticut. So they up their rainfall amounts. Rainfall rates of a quarter to a half inch locally, 1 inch per hour Wednesday afternoon and early evening. There could be isolated instances of flash flooding of urban, poor drainage, and low-lying areas. And then there will also be minor coastal and shoreline impacts during times of Wednesday AM and PM high tide for south-facing NYC, Long Island, and Connecticut shorelines. The wind advisory, the high wind warning and wind advisory go from 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. Wednesday. Gale warning from 6 a.m. Wednesday to 6 a.m. Thursday. And the storm warning, this is for offshore waters, 10 p.m. to 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Wednesday. And there could also be isolated thunderstorms that could also develop here. Here's, again, your map. This is their estimation of the wind gusts. This might be a little bit on the low end. And then we'll also have some pretty strong sustained winds, too, of gales as well. And they're saying the heaviest rainfall would be most likely Long Island, particularly Suffolk County, would see the heaviest rainfall. So looking at the satellite here, you can clearly see our moisture feed here. Here it is, all the way from the Gulf. That's coming right up the coast there. That's a fire hose of moisture that is coming toward us here on this satellite. You can clearly see that. If we go into our extensions here, we'll just draw this out. Show you this fire hose here of moisture just coming right up the coast. So this is like almost like an atmospheric river event. We're seeing more and more of these here on the East Coast. You got all that warm water in the Gulf, all that warm water in the Atlantic, and that gives this thing plenty of energy. If we look at, I don't know if they should have a water vapor. All right, well, let's see. We're going to do the lower water vapor here. Let's see if we can kind of, yeah, it shows up nicely. See all that green? So there you go. That is all that moisture that is heading our way. And there are thunderstorms as well. If we look at GLM flash intensity, you can see thunderstorms already up, stretching from the Gulf into Alabama and into Georgia. Let's look at the radar now. And you'll see here on the radar we have a few light showers around. Actually, there's a moderate one on the South Shore. So we're starting to see, after just a drizzly, gloomy day, we're starting to actually see some showers pop up now. And if we look at the radar, you'll see there's a whole bunch more here that's going to be coming up the coast. This is a nice little slug of rain here. Waiting for this part to load here. You can see some thunderstorms with heavy rain in this area here, going from Alabama into Georgia. And this is all going to intensify the storm. It's going to intensify because it's, if we go back to there's a, let me go back to the satellite imagery here. Let's do that. Go back to the CONUS. So if you look here, there's another little, there's a piece of energy here that's going to come in and energize the storm right over us tomorrow. All right. So let's go to the weather map. And you'll see here the system that we have that we're going to be dealing with. And we will wind up getting into that warm sector. All right. Definitely will. So looking at our current conditions right now, nothing too crazy. Very mild out there. So 52, dew point 52. Those temperatures are going to be rising. Rain and mist being reported at Islip right now. 54 so generally mid-50s generally in most locations right now. As far as precipitation goes, probably not all that much. If we look at the past 12 hours, we've only had a little bit, mainly just light rain and drizzle. Of course, that's going to change now that we're seeing heavier precipitation move into the area. Let's go look at what our high temperatures were, and probably are the current temperatures probably. There's no real sense in even... I'm not even going to pull this up. There's no sense in it. So you'll see here at Islip, you'll see we've stayed pretty much, yeah. See, we really didn't drop all that much. You could see all the drizzle and we actually had visibilities quite low, down to a quarter of a mile, with fog and just drizzle most of the day at Islip. So kind of just a dreary day across the area. But now it's going to go from dreary to stormy. Let's look at our climate report for today. This, again, is the current radar. And, again, you'll see some of those showers now starting to pop up across the area. Well, let's go look at the Islip climatological report for today. High of 47, the low of 44. The low of 44 was 13 degrees above normal, so we're 8 degrees above normal for the day. And we're going to be adding to that rainfall total. Right now we have 0.75. We'll definitely be adding to that in a big way tomorrow. And again, you have this just tropical air mass here. So if we look at Georgia right now, look at some of the conditions here. You can see it's pretty humid and pretty warm as well. So you have this tropical air mass that's coming on the east end. You can see the colder temperatures here over the behind the front over the Midwest here, where we got 30s and 40s. But we got to get through this storm first. All right. Again, high wind warning in effect for Long Island. Let's look at close this satellite down, and let's go look at the models next here. And you'll see here that this is the GFS, and you'll see let me just put this to the eastern U.S. view and show you what's going to be happening. So here's your center of low pressure that's developing tomorrow, and you can see it deepens tomorrow. The center of it goes off to the west, so we're in the warm air. We get into the low-level jet, and you can see how those tight isobars are. It looks like the tightest isobars may be over Suffolk County. So Nassau may be spared the worst of the wind. Suffolk's going to get worse. Everybody gets into the heavy rain the system is going to bring. And then it moves on out pretty quick, all right? But tomorrow is definitely going to be a very stormy day. And again, I've showed you already that we've got the humidity here. So this shows you the amount of moisture in the air. You can see how that atmospheric river is getting drawn up from the Gulf into the, this is the 700 to 300 humidity. So again, you see that atmospheric river just being pulled right up right there, all right? And we can also look at the winds. So I'll show you the low-level jet on a larger scale here. This is you'll see this low-level jet develop, and there it goes right there. You see the low, or east of the low. There's your low-level jet, and it gets more intense as it moves off to the east. And that means that the further east you are, the more intense the weather is going to be. At least according to the GFS. Again, it's kind of a low-resolution model here showing you all this. We're going to jump on over to the HRRR, actually. 0 is the HRRR. Again, show you, and we will zoom in. But you'll see how this thing develops. I kind of have this at, you can see how it kind of develops. As it moves east, it gets more and more intense. All right. Dew points. So I'll show you again the moisture that's being surged up ahead of this thing. You'll see here, there's your moisture that's being surged up. Very strong southerly, and then behind it we have the colder air that will come in for Thursday. So let's take a closer look at things. We're going to go and look at the precipitation forecast on the HRRR to show you what will be happening. So you'll see some scattered showers tonight. Maybe even be a rumble of thunder. Can't even rule it out because you can see this tropical in nature. So these are like tropical downpours here. and it will be a tropical downpour. And it'll start getting breezier as we get toward. You can see how the isobars are getting tighter, and you'll notice that a little break in the rain, maybe for an hour, and at a certain point of the middle of the day. But the rain comes back in by early afternoon, and again, heavy showers and thunderstorms. And you can see there what looks like a line forming in the afternoon there, early afternoon. Well, the HRRR doesn't have it quite as vigorous as some of the other models. And then it's got the rain lingering. Even once the worst of the LLJ is over, we're still going to have to deal with rain for a couple of hours behind that. But you'll see the axis of the LLJ is more over Suffolk County at this point. This is, again, the HRRR model that we're looking at here. All right. So we're going to go and look at the LLJ right now. We'll go and look at this is the LLJ. So you see the purples, and you can see how they become bright purples as we get toward 3, 4 o'clock. And again, any shower or thunderstorm could bring that down. But you'll notice how it cuts off over Nassau County by 5, 6 o'clock. We're not dealing with these very strong winds according to HRRR. It's Suffolk County that's going to be dealing with them more. And it gets even worse as it moves further to the east. Here we are over the Cape. The Cape's going to get even stronger winds probably than even Long Island. I wouldn't even say I wouldn't even rule out a gust to maybe 90 miles an hour over at the Cape, ahead of that front there, and it's just quite a sharp front. So if we look at the dew points, you'll see the humidity. You'll see the actual front comes through. Once the rain ends, that's when the front will come through, and the dew points will drop and the wind shift off to the west. But you can see that very strong southerly flow that we have out ahead of it. And, of course, it's going to bring a lot of warm temperatures, too. So the temperatures rise as well through the night. The temperatures will keep going up 50s, 60 or better, probably for tomorrow. So it'll be in the low 60s. Very warm, but it'll be wet and wild. And then we've got I guess that's a good way to describe tomorrow. And then the temperatures drop by the evening. So it will be wet and wild. Now, if we look at the HRRR total accumulated precip forecast, you'll see it has the heaviest rain. It has the band. It doesn't really have it over Suffolk. It has it more over Connecticut, Massachusetts, going to Connecticut, down to southwest Connecticut, over Nassau, western Suffolk, and into central New Jersey, where you could see 2 inches or better. I think everybody is going to get at least, at the very minimum, 1.5 inches from this. At the very minimum, and quite possibly more. And again, Jersey is really still in that severe drought, and we're still in the extreme. Actually, no, they're in extreme drought, and we're in severe drought. So this will definitely put a dent in it. Let's go look at the NAM next, the NAM 3. We have enough of that NAM in. So this is the NAM, and you can see the rainfall on the NAM, which I tend to agree with a little more. I think it's going to be a little more towards Suffolk County. I think that's where you're going to see the 2 and maybe even 3 inch amounts. And the further west you go, it's going to be more like around 1.5 inches to 2 inches, is what I'm thinking here. So let's go look at this NAM. And the NAM, definitely, you can see NAM looking a lot like the HRRR here. Here's the NAM. You can see there's that line that comes on through, that line of showers and thunderstorms. This could like a squall line. I want to go to the back to the weather and hazards map, and we can also look at the excessive rain here. And if we go into day 2, you'll see they got us in an excessive rain risk as well. This is our fronts, and you can see this is what it looks like. You can see, kind of move this along so you can see how this all plays out. All right, but let's go to the Storm Prediction Center and take a look at what they've got us from the convective outlook, because they do have us Day 2 convective outlook. It looks like they've got us in the marginal risk for severe weather, pretty much the whole eastern seaboard, and there's even a slight risk over eastern North Carolina. Yeah, here we go. Here's the tornado risk. So they don't have us in a tornado risk zone, but wind, yeah, we're in that wind risk. General threat's going to be wind, I guess, straight line winds. I'm not saying tornadoes, but definitely there's the possibility with this such a sharp front, such a strong low, that we could see some severe thunderstorms out of this. And you can see how it just kind of flares up as it moves to the east. This is the NAM, all right? So we have those tropical showers and thunderstorms, possible thunderstorms throughout the day. And then the line comes through, according to the NAM, right around 4 or 5 o'clock. But then we still have some lingering shower activity that's going to linger around, so it's still going to be raining probably through the early evening, and it probably won't stop until 10 or 11 o'clock at night because of that low enhancing the moisture even behind the front. Now, we looked at that. Let's go look at our low-level jet on the NAM here. This kind of shows it up nicely. So this is, again, your low-level jet. Things start picking up. The NAM has it picking up more toward the later in the afternoon. You can see those whites. That's where you have some very strong winds aloft. And, again, any shower thunderstorm can pull that down. That's why we have the high wind warning for Long Island. And you can see that it's generally Long Island that's going to be dealing with the worst of this winds. The city, Jersey, will avoid the worst of the wind. But they still have a wind advisory. But Long Island is where I think we're going to see some of the damage. Long Island into Connecticut, into New England, from that low-level jet that we have coming through right now. And you can see that's a really intense low-level jet for sure. A really very, very intense low-level jet that we have. And we'll look at the dew points on this, too, again, to show you that surge of humidity that comes up ahead of this front. It's quite remarkable. Quite remarkable. And then we see things drop as we get into your Thursday. So just covering Thursday a little bit because I'm mainly focused on the weather here. Thursday, you can see we've got the west winds, dew points drop. We see that drawing take place. It's going to be chilly. A little concerned about flash freezing. If we have the temperatures go below freezing before the sun rises on Thursday, we may have some flash freezing to worry about. But Thursday, we're going to basically be in the mid to upper 30s, so it's going to be much colder. We're going to go from the 60s to the 30s, so it's going to feel like this is a real sharp front. That's why there's so much energy to it. As far as skies go, I think we'll have sunshine on Thursday, but there could be some clouds showing some cloud. We'll just take a brief look at this. So there could be some low-level clouds on Thursday, perhaps some stratocumulus, but more concerned about tomorrow. And again, see that warmth. Some areas of Jersey might even make it close to 70 perhaps tomorrow. With the south wind off the water, for us it should moderate the temperatures a little bit, but still really impressive LLJ with this. So I want to look at a few more models here that we have to look at. Let's go to the HDRPS. We'll go ahead and look at our... See how the HDRPS, of course, makes things look a lot worse, but this kind of shows you the axis of the rain. So the timing is a little different on the HRRS. The HDRPS, it's a little slower and later. Slower is worse because that means that we're going to have more of the LLJ over Long Island. You can see that real band of heavy rain that would be a severe thunderstorm, a line of severe thunderstorms that would move through according to this HDRPS. This doesn't show us the actual wind. Of course, I know it's not one of the major models, but I figured I would show it to you just to cover all the models. And we're going to also look at the FV3 high res as well. And that's looking sort of like the HRRR, I guess. You can see that rain is going to definitely be lingering around even once it's done. So total accumulated precip on this one. Again, this is looking like, this is actually looking a lot like the HRRR. Yeah, that's looking a lot like the HRRR. It almost looks exactly like it. Yeah, it's very similar. Very similar. So the timing's a little different, but other than that, it does look very similar. So let's go to the regular GFS. This is what the regular GFS has for rainfall. NAM 12. And we will go and look at the European. So European's really soaking us with a lot of rain. That could be 3 inches of rain there or better. So European really is bringing a lot of rain. The European is even more intense with this. The European, here's the European. And you'll see here, again, there's the slug of heavy rain that's going to move through. This is a line of severe thunderstorms, which could have some very strong winds and blinding downpours. And then you can see the timing on that would be, and again, most likely from points east of the city would see this line move through. That is a really intense line that moves through. And I'm sure that means the Euro is going to be more intense with the LLJ as well. So let's take a look at the LLJ on the Euro. Oh, it is. Definitely is. It definitely is. You can see that. Euro is definitely more intense with the LLJ. Let's go to the icon next. The icon doesn't give us that. You can look at the icon as well. Icon similar to the Euro. That is a lot of rain. It's going to fall, right? That is a lot of rain. That's what it's going to be like a tropical storm. Between the wind and the rain, it's going to be like a tropical storm tomorrow. So there's going to be a lot of rain. The good news is this puts a real dent in our drought. And hopefully, after this, will get us at least out of, because if we go again to the current drought monitor here, we're still dealing with a extreme drought. That's D3 in New Jersey. The rest of our area dealing with a D2 severe drought. So hopefully after this, hopefully it'll get us to moderate drought for most of our area. It'll get us out of these more extreme categories, hopefully. Because it's very dry, and I know New Jersey, I've seen pictures of lakes and stuff that have dried up completely. So hopefully this will get some of those lakes back in business. So anyway, that's the good of all this, but the wind obviously is the major concern here that we have. So I want to go to the next. We're going to go to the Ventus sky, and we're going to visualize the wind here. We'll go to wind gusts, and this is the 8. This will show the HRRR. So 9 o'clock, nothing too terrible. As we go to 11 o'clock, it starts ramping up. We start seeing the winds start gusting up to closer to 50 miles an hour. Here we are at noon. You can see winds gusting up to 54 miles an hour. Even in Jersey, showing gusts up to 60. Again, this is the HRRR. And you can see how as it moves east, it gets stronger. So here we are. Now we're seeing gusts South Shore, Nassau County, around 2 o'clock, 55 miles an hour, into Suffolk County, gusting up to 61. And it just gets more intense from there. We go to 3 to 4. Here's 3 o'clock, winds gust possibly central Suffolk up to 67 miles an hour. And 55 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour. So these are pretty strong wind gusts here. As we move it to 5 o'clock, you'll see that the worst of the wind is now making it into basically cut off in Nassau. It's starting to end in western Suffolk, but down central Suffolk, you're dealing with these wind gusts, these damaging wind gusts. 6 o'clock, you can see it's now over the Forks. And you can see that winds have dropped off. It's like there's a line that develops here. That is the line of thunderstorms, probably right there. With the strongest winds right out ahead of that line of thunderstorms. So this is going to be pretty intense. Really intense storm. Very unusual to see this in December. But we see more and more of these type of atmospheric river events as we deal with the climate changes that we're dealing with. I want to go to the wind speed now. We're going to go, just a little bit. Let's go just 100 meters above the ground. Just 100 meters above the ground. All right, so we're just at 100 meters. All right, this is a sustained wind. You can see how strong the winds are. Just at 100 meters up. Now we're going to make this to 250 meters. And look at how it changes relatively quickly. Now 250 meters up. Yeah, this is we got winds gusting up to 70 miles an hour. Winds sustained at 70 miles an hour. So it's not that far aloft at all. So this is really big concern here. Look at these winds here that we're going to have not that far above our heads. So that is the concern that we have. There's going to be a lot of that. And then, of course, we have the effects on the ocean, too, as well. They didn't really mention the flooding potential, but with that south wind and the rainfall, I think there will be significant flooding potential on our barrier islands and beach erosion. And like I said last night, we're probably going to hear on Thursday, Town of Oyster Bay Supervisor Joe Saladino crying that his precious tow bay got washed away again. Want to make a bet? This is going to be some pretty strong. You look at these wave heights. That's going to cause a lot of erosion, especially Suffolk counties further east. Long Beach, Jones Beach will probably get away with nothing, but Fire Island, Tobe, anything out eastern Nassau County, out east of Jones Beach, you're going to be dealing with a lot of beach erosion with these waves and that wind that's going to be forcing the water in. Plus, you got all the rain coming down too as well, and that also means the South Shore, low-lying areas along the South Shore will get a lot of flooding, and I'm sure South Shore 12 will be all over that while ignoring the people without power in the middle of the island. Yeah, I want to bet on that too. So Let's go to the windy.com. That'll be our next stop. This is the Euro. This uses the European model, which is actually worse than the HRRR. So let's go to that. We'll go to wind gusts here. So going into tomorrow here, we're already starting to see. This is 6 a.m. and we're already starting to see winds gusting to 28. But things really ramp up once we get toward noon. We get this around 1 p.m. Here we are around 1 p.m. And you can see winds gusting to 43. Suffolk County getting the stronger wind gusts, and then things I think will ramp up even more as we get toward 4. Here we go. So this is the scary stuff here. So this is 4 o'clock here. This is the European, and off the south shore of Long Island, we got winds gusting to 61 miles an hour. Out over the ocean, we got winds gusting could be close to 70, and it gets more intense as we move it along. Here, 6 o'clock. Look at how intense it gets here. 6 o'clock, gusting possibly close to 70. Across, and it has it over the whole island too. So if we see wind gusts this strong, we're going to see a good number of power outages. If the European is right, I would say we could see between 50 and 100,000 customers lose power, as well as the railroad having problems as well because of this wind. If these winds verify, this is the European here. This is a little stronger than the HRRR, but you can see here very strong winds here. Very, very strong winds. This is going to be like a tropical storm. It's going to be something to see for sure. This is normally on a rainy day I would stay in, but I think I have a duty to kind of show you what this storm is like. And that means I'm going to have to deal with it being out in it to show you what it's like. It's a curiosity, especially if there's severe thunderstorms. This is going to be very impressive to see. And let's look at the... Let's go ahead and look at I think we'll go right to the regular wind, and we'll change this to altitude. So this is the sustained winds, all right, not the gusts. And the sustained winds, it's like, when you look at this, it like looks a little bit better. You're like, oh, it's not so bad. Those sustained winds 30 miles an hour, 3 p.m. By 5 p.m., it kind of 9 p.m. kind of already brings it through by 9. Actually, brings the front through, but you can see these sustained winds here. 31 miles an hour here, but I want to actually go above the surface here and change the altitude a little bit. Let's go to, let's go to 330 feet. This is 4 p.m. Sustained winds of 50 miles an hour off the surface, all right? Some of this isn't quite lining up, I notice, on this. The gust forecast and this isn't quite lining up, which is kind of interesting. So I just want to, let's go to 950. So I'll show the LLJ. This is 2,000 feet up. So you can see 2,000 feet at 4 o'clock. Yeah, your winds are roaring at 70 miles an hour. So if you're at the top of a skyscraper or a tall building, you are going to feel it. At the top of the hill, you're going to feel it. Higher parts of Long Island, believe it or not, the hills, you're definitely going to feel it. 72 mile an hour wind gust there. So this is the NAM here. I'll just bring this right back down to the surface here, because we want to look at some other models. Actually, that is the that is the Euro. I am sorry, my brain just decided. I want to go to the NAM. That's why I want to show you the NAM next. So let's go to the NAM here on the wind gusts, because the NAM also tends to be rather intense. So here's the wind gusts on the NAM. NAM has winds gusting to 50 miles an hour in Nassau County. Has the worst of those gusts out east. More out east. So the Euro is a little further west with the strong winds. The NAM is a little further east. I'd like to show you what this is going to be like. Here we go. 68 mile an hour wind gusts here. So Suffolk County, according to the NAM, would get the worst of the winds, and Nassau would escape the worst of the winds. So it's all depending on how these winds line up. But somebody in our area is going to be dealing with these strong winds. The European obviously has them a little further to the west. The NAM has them a little further to the east. This even does the HDRPS as well. So this is the HDRPS as well. Here's the HDRPS. And HDRPS, you can see winds gusting pretty strong. So this model here, HDRPS, does not spare us here in Nassau County. The Euro doesn't spare us. The HRRR obviously does a little bit spare us the worst of it, but the European obviously being the worst case scenario for us. It's worst case with rain. And let's go look at the thunderstorm risk here and see if they're actually showing it. This is not really showing thunderstorm activity, but I think there will be thunderstorm activity. Waves. This is the coastal again. Here we are again. You can see again these kind of waves that we're going to be getting along the beaches are going to be absolutely insane, especially further east. 16-foot waves, really, really impressive stuff here. 16-foot waves out there. So it could be some 20-footers, and then this thing moves on to the Cape. All right, and then this thing moves on to the Cape. So if I go back to the wind gusts, let's go back to that. You'll see the Cape gets into even worse winds. Yeah, they're going to be dealing with even worse winds, the Cape. See how it gets even worse as it moves further to the east here. So the Euro seems to keep it. I guess the Euro doesn't really intensify any. It peaks it over us, whereas the HRRR is a little different with the Cape. But if we go rain accumulation on the European, we can change this. Actually, we could change the time. See, let's see. Can I move this? Yeah, I can move this. This is the Europeans' guess of the rain accumulation. You can see it does have the heaviest rain over Suffolk County, close to 3 inches. And at least 2 inches. At least Ocean County in New Jersey would get 2 inches of rain, which they really need. So that's what things look like on this particular model here on this site. I want to go back to the Event2Sky site, and because this is geared more to the HRRR, and I just kind of want to see what the HRRR does tomorrow night for the Cape. Yeah, it does have things pretty intense on the Cape. You can see that, yeah, 68-mile-an-hour wind gusts. It's all about where these thunderstorms are going to develop. Good precipitation, and this kind of also shows you where the thunderstorms are, sort of. You can see where they are. This is a little different than tidbits, but you can see where the heaviest rain is going to be. And that heaviest rain is going to start moving in 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, afternoon, early evening is when the worst of the rain is going to be upon us. And we're going to see some pretty heavy rainfalls, and there could be some flooding with that. So that is what we're going to deal with tomorrow. It's going to be it's going to be like a tropical storm. That's the best way I can put it right now. It's going to be like a tropical storm. So let's go and look at something else. Talk about what's going on in California just briefly here, because there is a major wildfire in Malibu. You can see the smoke from this fire. I did a video on it last night as well. And you can see how the smoke is kind of, look at how far out it's going out into the ocean. I actually want to look at this on the satellite here. We're going to go to the southwest. I guess this would be Pacific Southwest. Yeah. And I want to show you this, so we're going to have to go back a little bit, maybe 96 frames. Should show you the fire. There it is, right there. So this fire is continuing to burn, it looks like, unfortunately, and the conditions there have been very dry. They've been dealing with the total opposite that we've been dealing with. While we've been dealing with all this moisture, they're dealing with a red flag warning and very low humidity and strong winds in this area. Air quality alert in effect for LA right now, probably because of the smoke. And you still see they're still dealing with some of these winds in this area here. Malibu Hills, 60 degrees. Dew point is 1 degree below zero. Humidity, 8%. Winds gusting to 32. Not a good situation at all for them. And we have air quality alerts now in effect, probably because of the wildfire smoke. LA, not showing smoke, but still it is dry in LA now. The dew point's down to 10. So they got into that dry air. Yeah, let's see if they were reporting any reduced visibility in LA. I don't see any. But not a good situation over there. So we've got problems on both coasts. California's burning, and we're going to be getting washed away tomorrow with some strong winds and heavy rain. And that's putting it mildly. So hopefully, I'm not sure if I'm going to go out there and show you what it's like. I just know I can't see anything in here, and I want to go out there and watch the storm. But hopefully I don't lose power, so hopefully I can keep you informed. Hopefully the power doesn't go out here, but there are going to be power outages for sure with this storm. Very, very high winds. Luckily, the leaves are off the trees, but these winds are very strong, and when you have the saturated ground, it could bring down trees. It all depends on who gets the worst wind. If it's Suffolk, then Nassau's going to avoid the worst power outages. If the Euro's right, the whole island is going to be dealing with power outages. So we'll see what happens as we get closer to tomorrow. And have a good night. And again, if you do plan on going out tomorrow, just make sure you pay attention to what's going on around you, because it's going to be pretty wild.